Okay, so number 6, which of the questions below has a slope of 1/4? And we have 4 different linear equations, and we have to decide out of these 4 which ones, because there could be more than one, have a slope of 1/4. So I'm going to go through my equations, and remember, we've got y equals mx plus b. We've got y minus the output value is equal to the slope times the x minus the input value. And remember, these are the only 2 formats that we can look at and we can see the slope. So if it is not in one of these 2 formats, then I have to do some rearranging. Okay, so let's look at the first one. I see y equals 1y equals, which tells me it's in slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b. I can look at that and see the slope. 1/4. So I know that option 1 is definitely got the slope of 1/4, which all the answer choices have option 1, so I can't eliminate any answers. Okay, if I look at the next one, I see parentheses and I see y minus a value equals the slope parentheses x minus the x value. Well, let's change 1/4 because this is not a fraction. Let's change 1/4 to a decimal. So I'm going to type in 1/4 math and option 2 to make it a decimal, and it is 0.25, so I'm also going to put up here 0.25. So same number, just 2 different formats. So yes, this does have a slope of 0.25. So I know option 2, which tells me that F is out because it doesn't include option 2. Option 2, option 2. Okay, I can't say that G is my answer because I haven't checked options 3 and 4. And if I look at option 3, it tells me that 5x minus 20y is equal to 32. That's standard form, which means I have to make it y equals mx plus b before I can know my slope. My slope is not 5, okay, because this is not in y equals format. So I have to move this 5x to the other side. So am I going to add 5x or subtract 5x? And hopefully you said subtract 5x. So I now have negative 20y equals 32 minus 5x. All right, so now I'm going to divide by negative 20. And I'm going to have y equals, all right, 32 divided by negative 20. I know that that's not going to go in evenly, so I'm just going to type it in as a fraction, 32 over negative 20, and that's going to give me negative 8/5. Okay, my next division, I have negative 5 divided by negative 20. That's definitely not going to go in evenly because my denominator is larger than my numerator. So I'm going to type in that ratio, negative 5 divided by negative 20. I'm not going to use division. I'm just going to simplify the fraction. And that's going to give me 1/4. And the sign of my 1/4 in my calculator is positive, which means I have to use the addition sign, and I can't leave off my x. Now it is in y equals mx plus b format. I'm looking for x to mark my slope, and my slope is a positive 1/4. So it does have option 3 in there, which means that G is out because it did not include option 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve option 4 because you just need that practice, and I want to double check I didn't make a mistake. So again, this is standard form. I've got to move my 5x to the other side. So would I add 5x or subtract 5x to move it? You should subtract 5x. So it's going to give you 20y equals 32 minus 5x. And then we're going to divide by 20. So I'm going to do y equals, and again, 32 divided by 20 is not going to go evenly, so I'm going to type in my ratio, 32 over 20. And that is equal to a positive 8/5. My next ratio is negative 5 over 20. And that's going to give me a negative 1/4, which tells me I'm subtracting 1/4. So here's my slope. It's a negative 1/4, but our slope has to be positive, so option 4 is not going to work. So it really should be only options 1, 2, and 3. Option 4 is a no because it doesn't match the slope we need, so the correct answer is H. Okay, looking at the last question on this page, we've got Aplex Plumbing charges a service fee of $55 plus $15 for each hour of service. John wrote a linear function using T, the total cost of a service call, as a function of H, the number of hours the service call lasted. So we can use a coordinate grid if we want, and we're really trying to figure out what is the value of the slope and what does it represent. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my problem. Remember, slope is 2 rates of change, which in a word problem is going to mean, that means 2 units of measurement. it's going to say miles per hour or, feet per second. So I'm going to start looking for two different units of measurement when I'm reading my problem. So I'm going to go back to this first sentence. Aplex Plumbing charges a service fee of $55. Okay, well, there's a value, but it only talks about dollars, 1 unit of measurement. So I'm going to keep reading because I need two kind of in the same phrase. Plus $15 for each hour. Oh, there's dollars and hours. There are two rates. We've got money and hours. There's my slope. So this just told me my slope. M equals 15. Okay, so if I want to write this in an equation, now that I have my slope, y equals mx plus b. 15 is my slope. Now I want to figure out my y-intercept. Remember, your y-intercept is your starting value. Well, where is this service fee starting at? Well, they start at $55 just to go out to your house. So this is B. This is your starting amount. So B is $55. Okay, so what they're really asking me for, guys, though, is my slope. Which one's my slope? So I'm looking for an answer of 15. Okay, the slope is 15. Yes, the slope is 55. B is out. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my answers, and then I'm going to finish reading all of my answer choices. 15, yes. 55, no. Now remember, when you want to tell what it represents or describe your slope, you have to include your two rates of measure, which is dollars and hours. So we're going to read answer choice A. The slope represents the number of hours of service. Did it mention the dollar cost at all? No, this is only 1 unit, 1 rate. So A cannot be it. C, the slope is 15 and the slope represents the rate charged per hour. So charged per hour, there's two different units of measurement. We've got dollars and we've got hours. We have two rates, which is what you want to use. You want to talk about both units of measurement when you are describing your slope. So the correct answer is C.